Hello, if you're a property investor, landlord, or someone that's been thinking about getting into property investing, but unsure which is the right strategy for you to be using right now, especially during these weird economic times that we find ourselves in right now, then this video is for you. Today, we're going to be looking at options in the property investment strategies world. And we're going to be going over how it's an essential toolkit or essential tool to actually have in your property investor's toolkit. But firstly, I'd like to welcome you to the Successful Property Investment Secret Show, the #1 resource to helping you go further, faster in your property investing journey. So each week, we'll be revealing useful strategies, resources, and insights used by some of the UK's most successful property investors in order to help you cut the learning curve and achieve your property goals. If it's your first time to this channel, then you should consider subscribing in order to stay up to date with the latest releases of new content that we have in this ever-changing and dynamic industry that we're in. So if you're actually watching this as well and you're wondering who on earth is that guy, my name is Azur Fatchur. I'm actually a property sourcer based in Plymouth, and I find investment properties all over the country for both myself and my clients. I actually use my time, experience, knowledge, and digital marketing skills to source great investment opportunities and then partner with people that have the cash and are interested in getting a better return than what the banks are giving at the moment. And because of my digital marketing expertise, people often come to me when they simply want to get more customers and grow their business. So with that being said, I should point out that I'm quite excited actually. I've got a event that I've got coming up soon. I'll quickly touch on. And basically, if you're interested in getting more customers for your business, more leads for your property business, then make sure you join me at this event. It's totally free. I'll be going through a 5-step process that you can use to actually generate unlimited leads for your business. And you can check it out by going to getleadswithvideoads.com/register. So with that all being said, let's get on into the meat of the show. So first of all, I want to talk about what is an option. If you're watching this and you're thinking, what on earth is you talking about? Well, an option is basically a contract. You can basically have a sheet of paper. It's a contract between two people, usually you as the investor and the homeowner, the vendor that's selling. Basically what it does is you are agreeing to purchase a property. It gives you the right, to purchase a property at a pre-agreed price, but not the obligation to buy that. So you could say, for example, here's a house, and let's say, for example, it's £100,000 house, and you're buying it at let's say £70,000. So you're gonna what you can do is you can say to them, look, I will give you the £70,000 that you want for your property, but give me, I'll pay that money to you at some period in time. The reason why this is so powerful is because what it allows you to do is get into the property, spend the money to refurbish it. So you secure the property under contract, this purchase option contract, and then what it allows you to then do is go into the property, fix up the property so that you force appreciation of the property. So let's say you bought it at 70, you've agreed to buy it at 70, you spend 10 grand fixing it up, and it's now worth £100,000. You could then go and get the mortgage so that it's the mortgage on the property, so it is at the £100,000. And when the mortgage money comes in, the owner gets their £70,000. You cash out with your £10,000 in that example, and then you've got 20 grand of equity built into that property. So that's how a purchase option can be a very, very powerful strategy. You can meet someone and a vendor, you can negotiate with them. This only really works when you've got a vendor, a homeowner that's looking to sell, that's motivated, but does not need all of the money right now. So if they're trying to get the money, the proceeds of the sale to then go and buy their next house, they're in a chain, if you like, then often purchase options are not necessarily the right tool to actually use. But as I said, you can see as an example how they can be a very good tool to use. Now, There are two other strategies that I want to talk to you about with regards to options. But just before I get into that, if you're enjoying the information that I'm giving you today, or you're learning something new, then please do give me a thumbs up. If I'm giving you some brand new information that you haven't thought of before, or maybe a new perspective, then please do give me a wow or a heart emoji, because it does help me to know to make more videos like this. And if you know anyone that might be interested in the content of this video, then please do let them know about it. So moving on to part two of options. The second part of the options in property investment strategy is something called a lease option. Now, this is essentially very similar. So everything comes off of the purchase option, okay? And so again, you agree some terms with a vendor that's looking to sell their property. You agree that you're going to buy it in X amount of time, whatever. Now, let's say the vendor says to you, do you know what? I just want you. My biggest concern is I don't want the liability of looking after the property anymore, and I don't want the liability of actually having to pay my mortgage all the time. Once those two things are taken care of, and you're able to give me the price that I want, I'm comfortable with the price, then you can pay me the money at some point in the future, and I don't mind how far in the future that is. Now, sometimes people go for 5-year options or 3-year options or 7-year options. It can be a number of years is the point that I'm making. This is often known as a, sometimes this strategy is referred to as a delayed completion. It's not strictly that, but that concept of delaying the final payment is essentially why it kind of garners that name from there. So with a lease option, what happens is you are leasing the property off of the owner. You're essentially renting it. Think of it as a rent to buy option. So you're leasing the property off of the owner, and you're going to pay them a certain amount of rent every month. And then you're going to do that for a number of years. Maybe it's like 5 years or 7 years or something like that. And at the end of that period of time, you're going to pay them the money that you agreed. Now, let's say the house doesn't really need much work to it, but the owner just doesn't want to have the liability of paying the mortgage and the upkeep of the property anymore. You then sign an option, a lease option agreement with them that says essentially you become the landlord. So you can either live in the property yourself and rent it out, or you can actually find another tenant to move into the property. So what this now means is you're leasing the property, and think of this like the rent-to-rent strategy, but instead of at the end of the contract with rent-to-rent where you have to hand the keys back, with this strategy, you actually are buying the property. So this is a fantastic way of actually leasing a property from a landlord for say 5 years, a period of time, having a tenant come in, service the debt on the property, which is the payments to the landlord. That's the guaranteed rent portion. If you're looking at rent-to-rent model, it's a guaranteed rent portion. And then on top of that, the profit that you get on that, instead of that putting that in your pocket or doing what you want with it, what you do is you put it into a separate account, and that's a deposit builder. So now in 5 years' time, let's say the profit on the property was £1,000 a month. In 5 years' time, that's going to be £60,000 that you've saved. And that £60,000 is a significant amount of money that you can then use as a deposit to actually then buy the property. So it hasn't really cost you that much money to actually get it. In fact, the property's helped you fund the purchase of the property itself. I hope that makes sense so far. If it does, then please do give me a thumbs up. And also, if you're watching the replay of this video, then please let me know in the comments. Just put hashtag replay, so I do know that this is actually going out to other people that are interested in this content. Now, the third and final thing is the sandwich option. Now, this is very similar to the last one, except instead of you then purchasing the property, so you move a tenant in and you lease it for a long period of time, a certain period of time, and at the end of that period of time, you then go and buy the property. What you do is you lease the property from the owner along with the agreed purchase price and stuff like that. And then what you then do is you go out and you find a tenant buyer. This is someone who maybe they don't have the best credit ratings yet. Maybe they're new to this country, so their credit, they don't really have a credit history, but they've got a decent job and they can afford it and all the rest of it. There's a number of checks you've got to do before you move that person in. And they then move in, and they move in not as a tenant. They don't have a tenant mindset where as soon as there's a leak, they call the landlord. They move in with a buyer's mindset. So now you sit in the middle, and the amount of money that you're charging them plus minus the difference that you're paying to the homeowner, therefore you're making a small amount of profit there, maybe £100 or £200 a month. And at the end of that period of time, the tenant buyer then purchased the property. Now, often when you do it this way, you can actually charge an extra 10, 15, 20% of a premium on the property. So £100,000 house could now be purchased by the tenant buyer at £110,000, £120,000 because they're buying it in 5 or 10 years' time when the property's probably gone up in price. So I hope you found this video very useful and you'll take the lessons learned. If you do need any kind of help getting more people into your property, getting more of these kind of leads for your business, then go to getleadswithvideoads.com/register and I'll be able to help you from there and my fantastic free event that's coming up. Anyway, that's it from me for now. Thank you so much for spending time with me and I'll see you in the next video.